0500 hours. Forward operating base Anvil, Persian Gulf coast. The sun bleeds over the eastern horizon, painting the desert sand in hues of burnt orange and violent red. Heat waves already shimmer off the black tarmac, distorting the sharp angles of parked armored vehicles. Inside the perimeter, the base wakes with a mechanical groan. Marines emerge from their reinforced concrete barracks, boots crunching heavily on the loose gravel. The air smells of strong coffee, burning diesel, and the salt spray from the nearby sea. A heavy transport helicopter idles on the main landing pad, its massive rotors chopping the humid air with a rhythmic, chest-thumping beat. A squad of riflemen jogs past the main gate, their gear rattling in time with their steps. They adjust the straps of their heavy packs and grip their assault rifles with practiced ease. Mechanics swarm over a battle tank in the motor pool, wrenches clanking against thick steel armor. They yell instructions over the roar of a testing engine. The base creates a bubble of industrial noise in the vast, silent desert. On the northern perimeter, a sergeant stands in a fortified guard tower. He racks the charging handle of a heavy machine gun. The metal bolt slams home with a sharp clack. He runs a gloved hand over the ammunition belt, ensuring the brass casings sit perfectly aligned. He looks out over the water. The sea is flat like a gray mirror. The radio on his shoulder chirps with static. Then it cuts out. He taps the device. He frowns. The vibration of the helicopter fades as the pilot kills the engine, but a new sound replaces it. A low buzzing hum rises from the north. It vibrates against the concrete walls of the tower. The sergeant raises his binoculars. The horizon ripples. The low hum grows into a dull roar. 0515 hours. Combat Information Center, deep inside the base bunker. The room is cool, bathed in the soft blue glow of digital monitors. Server fans hum a steady, monotonous drone. Radar operators sit hunched over their consoles, their faces illuminated by the sweeping green lines of the radar scope. The air smells of ozone and stale air conditioning. A heavy steel door seals them off from the heat outside. A senior operator leans forward. He narrows his eyes. The radar sweep passes the northern sector. The screen erupts. Instead of empty space, a solid wall of red contact markers floods the display. It looks like a digital storm front, but it moves with impossible speed. "Vampire! Vampire! Massive inbound contact!" the operator screams. His voice cracks. The watch officer drops his coffee mug. Ceramic shatters on the tiled floor. He slams his fist onto the red general quarters button. Outside, the base sirens scream. The sound tears through the morning air, drowning out the ocean. Marines in the mess hall freeze for a split second. Then chaos erupts, tables flip over. Men sprint toward the exits, scrambling for their helmets and vests. The buzzing noise from the north becomes a deafening whine. It sounds like a million angry hornets descending at once. The sergeant in the guard tower grips the railing. He sees them now. Black triangles silhouette against the rising sun. Hundreds of them. They fly low, barely 10 feet above the waves. Their propellers churn the air. They skim the water, kicking up lines of white spray behind them. They do not bank or turn. They fly in a rigid, terrifying formation. The phalanx of drones closes the distance at 200 miles per hour. "Engage! All batteries free!" the base commander yells into the tactical network. The automated defense turrets on the perimeter wall spin rapidly. Their barrels elevate and lock onto the leading targets. The whine of the swarm grows louder. It vibrates the ground. 0518 hours, north perimeter defense line. The six-barreled rotary cannons blur into motion. The electric motors whine, climbing to maximum RPM. The first barrels align with the horizon. The sound of the incoming swarm is now a physical weight, pressing against the eardrums of the Marines crouched behind sandbags. The anti-air guns erupt. Tongues of yellow flame leap 6 feet from the muzzles. A solid stream of orange tracer rounds slashes through the dawn light. The noise is not a rattle. It is a continuous tearing roar that shakes the fillings and teeth. Thousands of heavy caliber rounds hammer the air every second. The wall of lead slams into the leading edge of the drone formation. The front rank of UAVs disintegrates. High-velocity rounds shred composite wings. Fuselages shatter into jagged clouds of plastic and wire. Fuel cells ignite instantly. Dozens of fireballs bloom over the water, turning the gray sea into a cauldron of burning wreckage. A drone takes a direct hit to its warhead. It detonates in a blinding white flash. The shockwave swats the drone beside it out of the air. It tumbles end over end and splashes into the surf. Metal fragments rain down on the beach like hail. "Keep feeding them!" a gunnery sergeant screams over the roar. He slams a fresh ammunition can into a heavy machine gun mount. The targeting computers on the automated turrets twitch violently. They slew left, then right, tracking targets faster than a human eye can follow. Spent brass casings pour from the ejection ports, piling up in shimmering mounds on the concrete. The barrels glow cherry red from the friction. Smoke trails crisscross the sky. The smell of burnt cordite and ozone chokes the air. Yet through the curtain of explosions and fire, the second wave of the swarm punches through. They fly through the debris of the first wave. They do not deviate. 0520 hours. Perimeter defense control. The digital threat counters on the tactical displays blur, spinning upward uncontrollably. The targeting algorithms overload. The computers cannot prioritize individual threats within the solid wall of contacts. On the wall, the rotary cannon on Bunker 4 jams. The barrel assembly locks up with a grinding screech of metal on metal. Smoke pours from the ammunition feed chute. The gun falls silent. Beside it, the missile launcher fires its last interceptor. The tube smokes empty. The autoloader cycles, but the rack is bare. The swarm adapts instantly. The drones detect the gap in the wall of fire. They split formation. One group banks hard left, the other hard right. They move with fluid insect-like precision. They bypass the smoking, overheated barrels of the automated guns. They accelerate. The low hum rises to a high-pitched mechanical scream as the engines hit maximum throttle. Marines in the sandbagged fighting positions look up. The sky darkens with shapes. They raise their assault rifles. They fire frantic bursts at the speeding targets. 5.56mm rounds ping off carbon fiber hulls. Most shots miss the small, agile silhouettes. They're inside the minimum range, a platoon commander yells. He waves his arms frantically. Take cover! Get down! The leading drones dive. They ignore the frantic small arms fire. They clear the 20-foot concrete blast walls by inches. The wind from their passage blows helmets off heads. They fan out across the compound, hunting for their pre-programmed coordinates. The defensive perimeter is no longer a shield, it is a sieve. 0522 hours, main gate and sector Alpha Guard towers. The defensive line crumbles under the precision strikes. The drones do not act like blind missiles, they hunt like wolves. Two black shapes veer sharply from the main pack. They lock onto the tallest concrete guard tower. They smash through the reinforced glass windows of the observation deck. The twin warheads detonate simultaneously inside the confined cabin. The explosion blows the roof off the structure. A cloud of black smoke and pulverized concrete erupts outward. The steel support beams groan and buckle under the intense heat. The 40-foot tower tilts slowly, then gathers speed. It crashes down onto the asphalt road below with a ground-shaking thud, crushing a parked Jeep flat. At the main gate, a squad of Marines fires wildly at the diving shadows. A drone banks hard, dodging a stream of tracer fire. It straightens out and accelerates directly into the heavy steel barricade. The blast rips the steel gates off their hinges. A wave of overpressure knocks the squad off their feet. They tumble across the gravel, slamming into the concrete blast walls. Shrapnel sprays the checkpoint, shredding tires and sandbags. Fall back, secondary positions! A corporal screams, dragging a wounded gunner by his vest. Blood slicks the pavement. 3 more drones dive into the fortified machine gun nests lining the fence. They explode on impact. Sandbags disintegrate. Dust and debris swallow the fighting positions. The heavy machine guns fly into the air, twisted and useless. The outer perimeter burns. The path to the heart of the base lies wide open. 0525 hours, central living quarters. The heart of the base teems with panicked motion. Hundreds of Marines sprint across the open quadrangle, boots pounding the pavement. They clutch helmets and flak jackets against their chests, scrambling to reach the hardened underground bunkers. The air raid sirens wail relentlessly, echoing off the 3-story concrete dormitory blocks. The sky above darkens as the main body of the swarm arrives. 50 black shapes circle once overhead. They pause for a heartbeat, hanging in the air like vultures. Then they fold their wings and dive. The first drone smashes through the roof of Alpha Hall. It punches through the shingles and plywood decking effortlessly. A split second later, the warhead triggers. The explosion blows the 3rd floor apart. Windows shatter outwards in a shower of glass diamonds. Concrete slabs the size of cars tumble down into the courtyard, crushing the manicured hedges below. 3 more drones follow the first. They strike the structural pillars at the base of the building. The detonations shear the reinforced steel rebar. The massive dormitory block groans loudly. It tilts forward. The structure fails completely. The building pancakes downward, floor collapsing onto floor with a deafening grinding roar. A geyser of gray concrete dust erupts hundreds of feet into the air, swallowing the sprinting Marines. Across the quad, the dining facility takes direct hits. 2 drones fly through the open double doors. The blast gut the interior. A fireball rolls through the serving lines, blowing the glass facade out into the street. Metal tables and chairs fly through the air, twisted into scrap. "Get to the bunkers! Move, move!" a captain screams. He stands exposed in the center of the road, waving his arms. A group of young privates rushes toward a bunker entrance. A drone spots the cluster of movement. It adjusts its flight path. The engine screams as it accelerates toward the group. The captain raises his pistol. He fires 3 hopeless shots at the speeding missile. The drone slams into the earth 10 feet from the bunker door. The blast wave hurls the officer backward. He hits a brick wall and slides down, motionless. The explosion engulfs the tunnel entrance, collapsing the earth over the blast door. The dust cloud spreads, thick and choking. It coats the survivors in a layer of gray ash. The roar of collapsing buildings fades, replaced by the crackle of fires and the screams of trapped men beneath the rubble. 0530 hours, base motor pool. The vast asphalt lot vibrates with the roar of heavy diesel engines. Crews scramble over the hulls of massive battle tanks, throwing ammunition crates and rucksacks onto the steel decks. Drivers rev the engines, spewing thick black exhaust that mixes with the rising dust. The Rapid Reaction Force is trying to mobilize. Armored transport vehicles lurch forward, tracks clanking loudly on the pavement as they attempt to disperse from their neat parking rows. The drone swarm arrives from the south, flanking the confusion. 10 UAVs swoop low over the maintenance sheds. They line up their runs with mechanical coldness. The first drone ignores the tanks. It dives straight into the center of the logistical cluster, directly at the 20,000-gallon fuel tanker truck. The impact is catastrophic. The warhead detonates inside the main tank. The vessel rips apart. A massive sphere of orange fire expands outward, instantly consuming the oxygen in the lot. A tidal wave of burning jet fuel sprays across the asphalt. It washes over the line of parked armored vehicles like a liquid blanket. Tires melt instantly. Paint blisters and peels in seconds. The fire is so intense it sucks the air out of the lungs of the crews standing nearby. "Bail out! Get out!" a vehicle commander screams, unlatching his hatch. He scrambles out, his uniform smoking. 2 more drones strike the tops of the battle tanks. The shaped charge warheads slam into the thinner top armor. A jet of molten copper punches through the steel plating like a needle through fabric. The ammunition stored inside the turret ignites. The pressure builds inside the tank hull in a microsecond. The 50-ton turret blows off the chassis. It spins into the air, trailing smoke, and crashes upside down onto a jeep. The hull turns into a blast furnace. Secondary explosions pop and crackle as machine gun rounds cook off inside the burning wrecks. A driver in a transport vehicle throws the transmission into reverse. He tries to back away from the wall of fire. The tracks slip on the slick, burning fuel. The vehicle slides sideways and slams into a concrete barrier. The fire catches up. It licks over the vision blocks, blinding the crew. The motor pool is no longer a staging area. It is a graveyard of burning steel. 0540 hours, ruins of Sector Charlie. Thick black smoke blankets the alleyways, reducing visibility to less than 50 yards. Fires roar in the collapsed barracks, casting long, flickering shadows against the gray haze. The air tastes of burning plastic, copper, and blood. A pocket of 20 Marines holds a desperate defensive line behind a pile of concrete rubble and overturned vending machines. They cough in the acrid air. Their faces are smeared with soot and sweat. A low, vibrating buzz cuts through the crackle of the flames. The lieutenant slaps a fresh magazine into his assault rifle. He points a bloody hand toward the smoke. "Eyes up! High right!" he screams. 6 drones emerge from the gloom. They move fast, weaving between the broken pillars like angry wasps. The Marines open fire instantly. A chaotic wall of automatic gunfire erupts. Muzzle flashes strobe in the dark alley. Bullets chip concrete and spark off steel debris, filling the air with stone dust. One drone takes a round to the propeller. It spins wildly, crashes into a burning jeep and explodes. The other 5 drop altitude immediately. They skim the ground, flying below knee height. They zigzag erratically, jerking left and right to throw off the aim of the defenders. The Marines struggle to track the fast-moving targets. One drone pops up. It lunges at the center of the line. A corporal tackles a young private, driving him into the dirt. The drone sails over their heads and impacts the brick wall behind them. The blast collapses the facade, burying 3 men in a landslide of masonry. Another drone charges a machine gunner. The gunner holds the trigger down. The barrel smokes white hot. He hits the drone. It shatters midair, but the momentum carries the burning wreckage forward. The flaming debris slams into the gunner's chest, knocking him backward over the rubble pile. "Check fire! They're inside the line!" a sergeant yells. The last 3 drones circle tight. They dive into the cluster of survivors. A Marine swings his rifle like a baseball bat. The stock cracks against the drone's wing. The machine tumbles and detonates at his feet. The shockwave throws the squad apart. The defensive line evaporates. 0550 hours. Tactical Operations Center, TOC, 2 stories beneath the surface. The bunker shudders violently. Dust sifts down from the acoustic tile ceiling, coating the keyboards and coffee cups in a fine gray powder. The fluorescent lights flicker, buzzing like angry flies before stabilizing. The air is stale, recycled, and rapidly heating up. The main wall-sized display screen is a chaotic mosaic of no signal warnings and red casualty icons. A dozen officers shout over each other, pressing headsets against their ears to hear through the static. "Sector Charlie is gone. No response from the tank commander," a lieutenant yells, slamming his hand on the desk. "I have lost the automated turrets," another screams. "The link is dead." The base commander stands in the center of the room. He leans over the digital map table. His face is tight. He watches the red enemy icons swarm over the blue friendly positions. "Get the fleet on the sat link," the commander barks. "Tell them we are being overrun. Request immediate cruise missile support on our own coordinates. Danger close." The communications officer types furiously. "Trying, sir. The jammer signal is off the charts. Wait." He freezes. He looks at his frequency monitor. The graph spikes into the red. "Sir, they aren't just jamming us," the officer says. His voice is flat. "They are tracing the signal. They have a lock on this emitter." "Cut the feed," the commander orders. Topside, 20 specialized drones circle the hardened concrete mound of the command bunker. They ignore the burning wrecks of the tanks nearby. They focus on the massive steel antenna farm protruding from the bunker roof. 10 drones dive simultaneously. They slam into the satellite dishes and radio masts. The explosions shear the steel lattice towers. Cables snap like whips. The massive dishes topple, crashing down onto the bunker roof. The impact shakes the earth. Inside the TOC, the screens flash white, then go black. Sparks shower from the server racks as power surges fry the circuit boards. The room plunges into emergency red lighting. "We are blind," a captain shouts. Outside, the second wave of drones locates the heavy steel ventilation shafts. These drones are different. They are slim, cylindrical, and heavy. Penetrators. The first drone dives vertically into the intake shaft. It smashes through the spinning fan blades. The metal screams as it shreds. The drone plummets down the concrete throat of the bunker, falling past the blast dampers. It exits the vent in the ceiling of the operations center. The drone lands with a heavy metallic clunk in the center of the tactical map table, right in front of the commander. The plastic casing cracks. The red arming light blinks once. "Down!" the commander roars. He dives for the floor. The room dissolves. The thermobaric warhead detonates. A shockwave of superheated overpressure expands instantly, moving faster than sound. It pulverizes the furniture, the computers, and the men. The blast wave hits the reinforced walls and rebounds, doubling the pressure. The steel blast door bows outward, then bursts off its hinges, flying down the corridor. Fire consumes the oxygen in a split second. The red emergency lights shatter, then silence. The only sound is the hiss of a broken water pipe spraying into the darkness and the crackle of cooling metal. The tactical network is dead. The head of the snake has been cut off. 0600 hours, forward operating base Anvil. The sun climbs higher, indifferent to the devastation below. The buzzing drone of the swarm is gone. The heavy rhythmic thud of the rotary cannons has ceased. A suffocating silence reclaims the coast, broken only by the crackle of unchecked fires and the distant groaning of settling metal. The wind shifts, carrying a thick, oily black cloud out over the Persian Gulf. The smell is overpowering. Roasted rubber, unspent fuel, and the copper tang of death. The base is a moonscape. Where the barracks once stood, only jagged concrete teeth poke from mounds of gray rubble. Wisps of smoke curl from the debris, marking the graves of the sleeping shifts. The motor pool is a blackened scar on the desert floor. The skeletons of battle tanks sit motionless, their turrets blown off, their hulls glowing dull red in the heat. Pools of melted aluminum solidify on the asphalt. A lone wheel on an overturned transport vehicle spins slowly. It creaks with every rotation, then stops. There is no movement in the open ground. The defensive lines are quiet. Bodies lie scattered across the sandbags and gravel, frozen in their final moments of desperate resistance. Assault rifles lie dropped in the dirt, actions locked open, magazines empty. Near the crater that was once the command bunker, a single radio handset dangles from a severed cable. It swings gently in the breeze. Static hisses from the speaker, followed by a distant, frantic voice from the fleet. Anvil Actual, this is Task Force Command. Report status over. Anvil Actual, do you copy? The voice repeats, tinny and small against the vast silence. No hand reaches for the microphone. A piece of burnt paper drifts across the sand. It is a duty roster. It catches on a boot and flutters. On the horizon, the sea remains calm. The waves lap gently against the shore, washing away a streak of red that leaks from the drainage pipes. The gulls return, circling high above the smoke columns, waiting to descend. The base is no longer a military outpost. It is a tomb.